Strike through the Trollbot cluster pack and hold the spawn lobby. Broadcast. Stream God unleashes the Sub-Gull Hype barrage in a sweeping midrange arc. Piercing bass-boosted sound waves punch through all three Trollbot clusters simultaneously, armor plates shredding like corrupted data packets. Hype momentum triggers twice on the chain kills, refunding 2 ammo as the viewer counter spikes. The broadcast floor shudders. 2 bandwidth leeches crawl out from beneath the server racks at your flanks. The wave isn't done. Avoid the bandwidth leech and secure the spawn lobby. Broadcast. You strafe wide around both bandwidth leeches, keeping them at arm's length while your Sub-Gull Hype barrage sweeps the broadcast floor. No Trollbot clusters remain to suppress, and the 2 leeches are isolated and denied their latch-on window. The Sub-Gull meter stabilizes as the chat feed erupts with green hearts. Spawn lobby locked down. Stream God. Push hard to corrupted server rack corrid and strike anything in the way. Stream God breaks from the spawn lobby at a dead sprint. Sub-Gull Hype barrage trained forward as the neon floor tiles flicker underfoot. The 2 bandwidth leeches anchored to the server racks pulse and lurch. You open up mid-stride, piercing bass waves slamming into both hazards at midrange before they can latch and drain your mag. Both units shudder and crack. Viewer count spikes, and the kill feed lights up as you push northwest toward the corrupted rack halls. Strike hate raid drone at 72 meters and push forward hard. You snap the Sub-Gull Hype barrage up and unleash a twin arc burst at 72 meters. Piercing base waves shred through the hate raid drone's re-entry subroutine, splitting it into flickering dead pixels. Hype momentum kicks in, cycling 1 round back into the mag. You push hard north-northwest, boots hammering the cracked broadcast floor as monitor light strobe cuts around you, closing fast on the corrupted server rack corrid. Push hard to corrupted server rack corrid and blast anything in the way. Stream God hammers the throttle. Sub-Gull Hype barrage unloads 2 piercing base waves through the surviving hate raid drones at bearing 15 and 340. The armor-piercing sound shredding their casings like feedback through cheap speakers. Hype momentum kicks back 2 rounds as both drones detonate in dead pixel confetti. You're now 40 meters from the corrupted server rack corridor, close enough to smell the overclocked air. Strike lag spike anomaly at 60 meters and keep pressing the objective. You level the sub-goal hype barrage and send a piercing base wave downrange. The lag spike anomaly at 60 meters catches the full burst and detonates in a shower of fractured latency shards. Turn skip threat neutralized. The copy-pasta spectre ahead is already splitting into ghost copies. You push forward through the strobe-lit racks. The server corridor is almost in your hands. One more threat to silence. Strike copy past the spectre at 25 meters and keep pressing the objective. You swing the toxic chat ban hammer into the copy pasta spectre at 25 meters. The melee purges its clone buff instantly, silencing the fracturing silhouettes before they can duplicate. The spectre shatters into a cascade of fragmented ASCII art and dead emotes. Lag spike anomaly is already at 0. The corridor is clearing, but the hate raid drone swarm is inbound from the rack halls. Smash through the hate raid drone pack and hold corrupted server rack corridor. You swing the toxic chat ban hammer in a brutal arc through the server corridor. Hate raid drone A takes a direct hit and dissolves into corrupted pixel burst, its rotor shards sparking across the rack faces. Drones B and C bank hard back toward your position and clip you with uplink static bursts before you can reset your stance. The copy-pasta spectre at the back of the corridor is already splitting. You need to silence it fast or you'll be drowning in clones. Smash through the hate raid drone B pack and hold corrupted server rack corridor. You bring the toxic chat ban hammer down in a savage overhead arc. Hate raid drone B detonates in a shower of corrupted pixel confetti, the shockwave clipping drone C and staggering it backward through a row of server racks. The banhammer's purge field catches both copy-pasta specters simultaneously, silencing their clone subroutine before they can duplicate again. They flicker, destabilize, and shred into static. Drone C is still airborne and wounded, banking erratically across the corridor, and the lag spike anomaly pulses dangerously to your west. Clear it before it skips your next action. Blast hate raid drone C at 30 meters and keep pressing the objective. Sub-Goal Hype barrage locks onto drone C at 30 meters. Piercing base-boosted waves shred its rotor housing and detonate its payload core. The Mini goes dark in a shower of pixel confetti. Viewer count spikes. Hype momentum kicks back around. One target left. The lag spike anomaly is still crackling at 62 meters. It needs to die before it steals a turn. Avoid the lag spike anomaly and secure corrupted server rack corrid. You sidestep the pulsing lag spike anomaly. Its glitch field claws at your signal but finds nothing. Stream God locks down the corrupted server rack corrid, scanning every rack tower and donation alert pillar. No hate raid drones on contacts. Corridor reads clean. Sector secured. Strike lag spike anomaly at 62 meters and push forward hard. You level the mod hammer protocol and fire a precision script block straight into the lag spike anomaly at 62 meters. The automated sequence seals its skip subroutine and the hazard detonates in a burst of corrupted timestamp data. With the last hazard nullified, the relay is clean and the stage objective drops. You push forward hard, boots already crossing into the next corridor toward the glitching donation alert sky. Push hard to glitching donation alert sky and smash anything in the way. Stream God surges northeast through the flickering rack halls, mod hammer protocol raising to pin down the hate raid drone swarm before they can loop back. Three automated script blocks fire in tight succession. Alpha seizes mid-stride, beta spirals into a server cabinet, gamma gets sealed mid-rotation and crashes out. Corridor clear, uplink holding, objective closing fast. Sweep glitching donation alert sky for stragglers and lock it down. Advance and smash everything in your path. You push Stream God deeper into the donation alert skybox as the hate raid floods in. 5 troll bot clusters crash through the rack walls in a mechanized phalanx, and a bandwidth leech skitters along the conduit ceiling, targeting your ammo reserves. You swap to the Sub-Goal Hype barrage and detonate a full-spectrum base wave through the cluster pack, armor-piercing sound shredding chassis apart in a cascade of static, but the leech latches a partial drain before the shockwave clips it loose. Two permaban shadows materialize at the sector perimeter, absorbing the splash damage like it's nothing. Strike bandwidth leech at 18 meters and keep pressing the objective. You spin the sub-goal height barrage on the bandwidth leech at 18 meters. A point-blank armor-piercing base wave detonates against the ceiling conduit, shredding its drain nodes and dropping it cold. Hype momentum kicks back one round into the mag. Permaban Shadows A and B is still prowling the neon strobed server cathedral. Both absorbing posture, shields up, waiting for your next broadcast. Strike through the Permaban Shadow a pack and hold glitching donation alert sky. You sweep the sub-goal hype barrage in a wide arc. Piercing base waves crash through Permaban Shadow A at midrange, punching through its absorption shield on the second burst and flattening it into static. Hype momentum kicks back 2 ammo as the viewer count spikes. Permaban Shadow B and the Trollbot clusters are closing in from bearing 310 and the North Corridor. The skybox towers still flicker amber, barely standing. Strike through the Permaban Shadow B pack and hold glitching donation alert sky. You swing the sub-goal hype barrage wide and let a piercing base boosted salvo rip through Permaban Shadow B. 2 charges punch clean through its absorption shield before it dissolves into static. The wave keeps rolling and shreds Trollbot Cluster Alpha's front rank, scattering chassis fragments across the neon-slicked floor. Trollbot Cluster Beta pushes up from the far corridor, and the bandwidth leech is still creeping at 78 meters. You're holding the skybox, towers still screaming amber. Strike through the Trollbot Cluster Beta pack and hold glitching donation alert sky. Sub-goal hype barrage is dry. You swap to mod hammer protocol and script block through the Trollbot Cluster Beta pack. Automated lock scripts shredding the mechanical cluster as base echo residue still crackles off the towers. Hype momentum can't proc without the primary, but mod hammer's long-range precision punches clean through each bot's chassis one by one. Cluster Beta goes dark. The bandwidth leech and gamma pack are still pulsing at distance. Hold the skybox. Smash bandwidth leech at 72 meters and keep pressing the objective. You level the mod hammer protocol and fire a burst of script blocks at the bandwidth leech. Mechanical class, 72 meters out. Dead in your sight line. The automated seals latch onto its drain aura and collapse it in a shower of corrupted bitrate. Cluster Gamma and Permaband Shadow C are still crawling through the static, closing range. The sub-goal towers flicker, but hold. Incinerate through the Trollbot Cluster Gamma pack and hold glitching donation alert sky. You swing the Mod Hammer protocol on Trollbot Cluster Gamma. Long-range precision is a mismatch for a 65-meter swarm, but one script block lands and staggers the cluster's lead unit. The others scatter but aren't cleared. Permaband Shadow C holds its absorb shield, watching. Trollbot Cluster Delta creeps in from the north while the amber towers still burn behind you. Strike through the Trollbot Cluster Gamma pack and hold glitching donation alert sky. Zero ammo on the barrage. You hot swap to the Mod Hammer protocol and open up on Trollbot Cluster Gamma at midrange. Script block rounds stitching through the pack and shredding the remnants into corrupted pixel dust. Cluster Gamma is purged. Cluster Delta and the Hate Raid drone are still pushing hard from the north, and Permaband Shadow C is drifting in on your flank. The sub-gold towers are holding amber but barely. Smash through the Permaband Shadow C pack and hold glitching donation alert sky. Mod Hammer protocol is dry. You flip to the toxic chat ban hammer and charge Permaband Shadow C at close range, the melee weapon bypassing its absorption shield with a streak of pure ban energy that deregisters it from the stream entirely. The ban hammers purge or eclipse Trollbot Cluster Delta mid-swarm, scattering pixelated bot fragments across the donation alert skybox. You plant your boots at the center of the glitching donation alert sky, sub-gold towers still blazing, but Hate Raid drone Alpha is looping in fast from the northwest and the bandwidth leech is creeping inside its drain radius. Blast through the Trollbot Cluster Delta pack and hold glitching donation alert sky. You swing the toxic chat ban hammer into the Trollbot Cluster Delta pack. 3 mechanical trolls detonate in a shower of corrupted pixels and shattered emote fragments, the last one staggering dazed at your feet before you bat it into the void. Cluster Delta is wiped, but the bandwidth leech prime is oozing closer from the northwest and your ammo reserves are already in its drain radius. Stay mobile. Hate Raid drone Alpha is looping back in hot from bearing 350. The glitching donation alert sky holds. Sub-gold towers still pulsing amber gold. Smash through the hate raid drone alpha pack and hold glitching donation alert sky. You swing the toxic chat ban hammer in a wide brutal arc, slamming hate raid drone alpha out of its repeat attack loop. The drone splinters into cascading pixel shards, viewer count ticking up. Bandwidth leech prime is still oozing close at 58 meters, dangerously near ammo drain range. You backpedal hard and keep it at distance. The rest of the field is holding. Troll bot clusters and Permaban Shadow Eye are pushing in but haven't closed yet. Blast through the troll bot cluster epsilon pack and hold glitching donation alert sky. You swing the toxic chat ban hammer in a wide arc and wade straight into troll bot cluster epsilon. The midrange strike detonates across the pack, dissolving 3 bots into cascading pixel confetti and scattering the rest. Epsilon is shredded. You're holding the glitching donation alert sky, but bandwidth leech prime is creeping closer from the northwest at 52 meters. Get distance or flash it before it drains you. Permaban Shadow Eye is looming at 290. Absorb shield up and hungry. Break away and take cover. Pop gifted sub-train flash, then re-engage from safety. You break hard, left through a curtain of corrupted donation pixels, banhammer trailing toxic purple sparks as you open distance from bandwidth leech prime. That thing is 44 meters and closing, and you are not letting it latch. Gifted sub-train flash detonates mid-retreat. A blinding neon alert cascade rips across the entire enemy line, shredding bandwidth leech prime's drain lock targeting and freezing the troll bot cluster's mid-lunge in stuttering pixel glitch. You drop behind a collapsed sub-gold tower shard, health critical but contacts disoriented. Re-engage window is now. Smash bandwidth leech prime at 38 meters and push forward hard. You charge in hard. Ban hammer swings wide at 38 meters and clips bandwidth leech prime, but it's a mid-range stretch on a hazard tier contact still partially in its disabled window. The strike lands glancing, draining it but not killing it. Forward push puts you dead center in the donation alert sky. All 4 disabled contacts are starting to flicker back online around you. Break away and take cover. Pop gifted sub-train flash, then re-engage from safety. You break hard left behind a sub-goal alert tower pillar. Distance yourself from bandwidth leech prime's drain field, then detonate the gifted sub-train flash. A blinding neon supernova of donation alerts erupts across the arena, searing every contact's targeting array. Bandwidth leech prime's latch subroutine stutters and dies mid-cycle. The troll bot clusters lose lock completely. You're alive. breathing, and for 2 turns every enemy is shooting blind. Incinerate bandwidth leech prime at 18 meters and push forward hard. You swing the toxic chat ban hammer hard into bandwidth leech prime at 18 meters. The hazard unit's latch animation shatters on impact. Its ammo drain subroutine purged mid-cycle. It flatlines. With all contacts still flickering in disabled loops from last turn's flash, you push forward hard through the arena, boots hitting scorched neon tile, closing toward the objective cluster while the bot clusters and shadows haven't recovered. Break away and take cover, pop gifted sub-train flash, then re-engage from safety. You vault behind a shattered alert tower pylon, neon sparks raining down as you slam the gifted sub-train flash. A blinding cascade of donation tears and hype animations explodes across the enemy line, disorientating Trollbot Cluster Theta and Permaban Shadow 2 before they can close the gap. The disabled trio flicker and stutter in the strobe, unable to recover targeting. You're bruised, bleeding digits, but you've bought yourself 2 turns of breathing room. Smash Permaban Shadow Eye at 50 meters and push forward hard. You lunge through the strobing arena static and bring the toxic chat ban hammer down on Permaban Shadow Eye. The thing's absorption shield crumbles under a charged overhead smash, purging its buff stack and detonating it in a burst of corrupted pixel gore. With the disabled contacts still twitching from last turn's flash, you push forward hard into the cluster field, banner high. The arena's alert towers still pulse pink behind you, still standing. Break away and take cover, pop gifted sub-train flash, then re-engage from safety. You break hard left through the strobing digital floor, ban hammer trailing toxic sparks as you slide behind a shattered sub-goal alert tower, cover secured. You pop the gifted sub-train flash. A blinding neon donation animation detonates across the entire enemy line, searing sensor arrays and shattering targeting locks. The bandwidth leech recoils blind before it can latch your ammo reserves, and every active contact loses lock for 2 turns. You breathe, battered but alive. Smash Permaban Shadow 2 at 44 meters and push forward hard. You swing the toxic chat ban hammer hard into Permaban Shadow 2. The absorption shield is still down from the gifted sub-flash, and the hammer connects clean, shattering its silhouette into a cascade of banned user notification fragments. With the field still strobing and all contacts disabled, you punch forward through the neon wreckage toward the alert tower cluster, boots crunching on fractured UI shards. The bandwidth leech's drain field flickers weakly, unable to latch as you blast past it at full momentum. Break away and take cover, pop gifted sub-train flash, then re-engage from safety. You brake hard left, ducking behind a sparking alert tower as the gifted sub-train flash detonates across the enemy line. A blinding wall of neon gifted sub-notifications strobes through the donation alert skybox, shattering targeting locks on every contact in range. The three disabled trollbot clusters convulse in the cascading light, their chassis cracking under the disorientation surge. The bandwidth leech twitches offline, unable to relatch. You're breathing at 19 HP behind cover. The skybox is yours for now, but the spawn director is still live. Smash trollbot cluster 8 at 28 meters and push forward hard. You swing the toxic chat ban hammer into trollbot cluster 8 at 28 meters. The disabled cluster shatters like a spammed KEKW into corrupted pixel shards. Full wipe. You push forward hard into the neon-blazed skybox, closing distance on the two permaban shadows moving up from the northeast. But at 19 HP those shields hit different. The approach is exposed. Break away and take cover, pop gifted sub-train flash, then re-engage from safety. You sprint hard left behind a flickering sub-goal alert tower, putting a concrete slab of corrupted broadcast data between you and the shadows, then you detonate the gifted sub-train flash. A blinding wall of neon donation animations erupts across the arena. Both permaban shadows stagger, targeting locks shattered, their absorption shields flickering wildly as the disorient sets in. You're at critical health, but you bought yourself 2 turns of breathing room. Smash trollbot cluster Zeta at 34 meters and push forward hard. You swing the ban hammer into trollbot cluster Zeta at 34 meters, already disabled. It shatters like corrupted cache data, pixel shards spraying across the glitching floor. Hype momentum crackles. You're at 15 HP and running hot, but the lane forward is clearing. Cluster Theta is still stunned and exposed. Push is live. Break away and take cover, pop gifted sub-train flash, then re-engage from safety. You backpedal hard through cascading pixel debris, putting a glitching server rack between you and the bandwidth leech's drain field, then you detonate the gifted sub-train flash. A blinding neon alert animation erupts across the entire line. The leech's targeting array whites out, both permaban shadows lose their lock, and cluster Theta's already disabled senses flicker into full static. You're breathing again. Barely, but breathing. Smash trollbot cluster Theta at 32 meters and push forward hard. You swing the toxic chat ban hammer into the already disabled troll bot cluster theta at 32 meters. The dazed bots shatter like fragmented cache files, neon shards spraying across the skybox floor. With theta wiped, you surge forward, pushing hard toward the spawn point's core. The two permaban shadows and bandwidth leech are still disabled, but the window is closing. They'll snap back online soon. Break away and take cover, pop gifted sub-train flash, then re-engage from safety. You brake hard left behind a flickering sub-goal alert tower, putting strobing neon architecture between you and the incoming hate raid drone pack. Gifted sub-train flash detonates. A blinding supernova of donation alert animation erupts across the arena floor, the drone's targeting arrays spasming into static. The two disabled permaban shadows rattle in their frozen frames. The bandwidth leech stays locked down. You've bought 2 turns of chaos. Use them. Smash permaban shadow alpha at 40 meters and push forward hard. You swing the toxic chat ban hammer hard into permaban shadow alpha at 40 meters. Its absorption shield is still down from the flash. And the hammer connects clean, shattering the contact in a burst of corrupted chat logs and purple static. You push forward hard into the skybox, the pixels scatter floor crumbling under your boots as the arena strobes. The disabled hate raid drone pack is stirring above, senses rebooting. You're deep in their respawn window. Break away and take cover, pop gifted sub-train flash, then re-engage from safety. You sprint hard behind a flickering donation alert tower. Neon shards crunching under boot, then detonate the gifted sub-train flash dead center of the enemy line. The blinding alert animation detonates like a supernova of pink and gold pixels. Every active mechanical contact locks up, senses screaming static, targeting arrays flatlined for 2 turns. You re-engage from cover, ban hammer ready, health critical but momentum alive. Smash permaban shadow beta at 40 meters and push forward hard. You surge forward and slam the toxic chat ban hammer into permaban shadow beta. It was already disabled from the flash, so the hit bypasses its absorption shield clean and shatters it in a burst of corrupted purple pixels. With its absorb shield stripped, the ban hammer's daze effect echoes out and rattles trollbot cluster A nearby. You're deep in the skybox now, still critical at 16 HP, keep moving. Break away and take cover, pop gifted sub-train flash, then re-engage from safety. You brake hard left across the glitching skybox floor, neon tiles stuttering beneath your boots as you pop the gifted sub-train flash. A blinding wall of alert animations detonates across the enemy line, searing every active sensor and targeting lock in the arena. Trollbot Cluster C, the only active contact, gets caught full in the face of the flash burst and staggers, disorientated in a cascade of corrupted sub-notification pixels. You duck behind a fractured donation tower strut, health ragged but breathing. The field is temporarily yours. Smash bandwidth leech at 44 meters and push forward hard. You swing out from behind the donation alert tower and charge the bandwidth leech at 44 meters. Ban hammer connects with a sickening digital crack, shattering its drain subroutine in a shower of corrupted ammo bar fragments. The leech's signal flatlines. Your ammo reserves stop bleeding. Disabled contacts are still frozen in GIF loop stasis, but the permaban shadows on the edge are twitching. The stasis is wearing thin. Break away and take cover. Pop gifted sub-train flash, then re-engage from safety. You brake hard left, vaulting behind a flickering donation alert tower as the troll bot clusters surge forward. Then you slam the gifted sub-train flash, detonating a wall of blinding neon sub-alert animation across the entire enemy line. Every sensor array in the arena whites out. Troll bots stagger, hate raid drones lose lock, and both permaban shadows freeze mid-lunge as their absorption shields flicker offline for 2 turns. You're battered at 10 HP but still standing, and the skybox is yours for a precious window. Smash troll bot cluster A at 52 meters and push forward hard. You're at 10 HP. One bad hit ends this run. The gifted sub-train flash kept everything disabled last turn. You swing hard into Trollbot Cluster A at 52 meters with the ban hammer while they're still reeling, shattering the cluster into corrupted pixel shards. Everything is one turn away from snapping back online. Do not let the permaban shadows and drone pack recover without a plan. Break away and take cover, pop gifted sub-train flash, then re-engage from safety. You're bleeding out at 10 HP. No time for heroics. Stream God breaks hard left behind a shattered sub-gold tower strut, pops the gifted sub-train flash, and the entire skybox detonates in a blinding neon cascade. The hate raid drone pack, both permaban shadows, and troll bot clusters B and C are seized by disorientation, senses scrambled, targeting locks shattered for 2 turns. You gasp behind cover, still breathing, still streaming. Smash hate raid drone pack at 48 meters and push forward hard. Break away and take cover, pop gifted sub-train flash, then re-engage from safety. You sprint hard behind the cracked neon sub-goal alert tower, pixels fracturing under your boots, and detonate the gifted sub-train flash. A blinding supernova of subscriber animations and gift tier explosions rips across the enemy line, breaking every targeting lock in the field. The hate raid drone pack, troll bot clusters, and permaban shadows reel in disoriented static, their senses scrambled for the next 2 turns. You're still breathing, barely, but you bought yourself a window. Smash hate raid drone pack at 48 meters and push forward hard. You swing the toxic chat ban hammer in a wide arc, but at 48 meters those hate raid drones are well outside its effective reach. The hammer whiffs hard through pixel static, costing you precious momentum. The drones snap out of the disabled state and loop back in fast, raking your shields with repeat entry subroutines. You take a nasty hit at 13 health, you cannot afford another mistake. ACC recommends switching to sub-goal hype barrage. Its piercing base waves are built for exactly these mechanical pack contacts. Operator down. Adrenaline standing down. You held the line. Stream God stands in the strobing void black donation alert skybox, neon towers flickering behind them, swinging the glowing ban hammer futilely through crackling pixel static as the pack of hate raid drones screams back in low formation, their red targeting reticles locking on from 48 meters away. Operator down. Adrenaline standing down. You held the line. Stream God jolts upright in the strobing donation alert skybox, a crackling halo of recycled viewer energy fading around him as neon sub-gold towers flicker overhead and the hate raid drone pack roars in low formation through the pixel static at 38 meters. Break away and take cover, pop gifted sub-train flash, then re-engage from safety. You brake hard left, boots skidding across glitching pixel floor as the hate raid drone pack screams in at 38 meters. You pop gifted sub-train flash, detonating a blinding neon alert wall straight into their sensor arrays. The drones spiral and scatter, targeting locks shredded for 2 turns, and you slam behind a flickering sub-goal tower with 30 health to spare. The arena strobes violent orange as disabled contacts stay cold and the drone pack stumbles blind. Smash hate raid drone pack at 35 meters and push forward hard. You swing the ban hammer wide into the disoriented hate raid drone pack. Their targeting arrays are still dark from the flash, and the hammer's toxic waveform detonates through the cluster like a banhammer event, scattering corrupted drone frames across the pixel static floor. Drones. Flatlined. The permaban shadows at 56 to 58 m are still closing fast though, absorption shields flickering, your health is critical and they're immune to one direct hit each turn. Get ready to pop the raid shift. Break away and take cover, pop gifted sub-train flash, then re-engage from safety. You dash hard to the east behind a shattered sub-gold tower shard, breaking line of sight from both permaban shadows, then detonate the gifted sub-train flash. A blinding wall of neon alert animations erupts across the enemy line, breaking every targeting lock and leaving both shadows stumbling in disoriented static. Re-engaging from cover while they're blind, you crack Alpha with a charged ban hammer swing through its absorption window, dealing real hurt. Incinerate permaban shadow beta at 42 meters and push forward hard. You're critically low and swinging the ban hammer won't close 42 meters. You swap to sub-goal hype barrage and unload piercing base waves into permaban shadow beta, the disoriented target still blind and wide open. The armor-piercing sound shreds through its absorption shield before it can reset, and beta detonates in a cascade of corrupted sub-notifications. You push forward hard, closing distance toward the objective core while the remaining contacts start shaking off the disorient. Break away and take cover, pop gifted sub-train flash, then re-engage from safety. You break hard left through a cascade of shattered donation banners, popping the gifted sub-train flash. A blinding neon supernova detonates across the skybox, searing every targeting sensor in the arena. Permaban Shadow Alpha and both Trollbot clusters stagger, lock-ons shattered, buying you a precious breath behind a crumbling alert tower strut. Health is critical, you're hanging by a thread, but the flash just bought you 2 turns of breathing room. Strike Permaban Shadow Alpha at 38 meters and push forward hard. You're at 20 health and dry on the hype barrage. You swap to the mod hammer protocol and fire a precision script block at Permaban Shadow Alpha at 38 meters, piercing its absorption shield and sealing its channel for good. The long-range fire connects clean, dropping Alpha and adding its silenced signal to the static choked skybox. Trollbot clusters B and C are still live and closing. You push forward through the neon wreckage, keeping the last standing sub-gold tower behind you. Smash Trollbot cluster B at 40 meters and keep pressing the objective. You're at 17 health. One bad hit ends the stream. You swing hard left and bring the toxic chat ban hammer down on Trollbot cluster B at 40 meters, the melee arc smashing through the mechanical pack as fractured pixel debris explodes across the skybox feed. Trollbot cluster C is still active at 55 meters northeast. You push the objective line and hold position at the glitching donation alert skybox. Blast Trollbot cluster C at 52 meters and keep pressing the objective. You swing the ban hammer into a gap while your primary locks onto Trollbot cluster C at 52 meters. Sub-goal hype barrages piercing base waves shred through the mechanical cluster in a burst of corrupted pixel shards and glitching donation pop-ups. Cluster D is still live to your west at 68 meters, and the bandwidth leech is creeping closer at 78 meters north. Don't let it latch. You're at 12 HP. One wrong step ends the stream. Strike Trollbot cluster D at 65 meters and keep pressing the objective. Your primary is bone dry, 0 rounds in the sub-goal hype barrage, so you pivot to the mod hammer protocol and lay a long-range script block into Trollbot cluster D at 65 meters. The automated block seals their attack subroutine mid-swarm. They collapse into a cascade of corrupted pixels, wiped clean. One active threat remains. The bandwidth leech is crawling north at 72 meters. Stay out of its drain radius or your ammo situation gets worse. Avoid the bandwidth leech and secure glitching donation alert sky. Stream God is at critical health, 12 HP. Secondary dry, bandwidth leech still pulsing at 72 meters bearing 20. You swing wide left, keeping hard distance from that ammo draining hazard aura, and switch to the sub-goal hype barrage. Mid-range armor-piercing waves are overkill on the leech's mechanical shell from range, but at 72 meters you can tag it clean without triggering the latch. One piercing base wave volley slams into the leech's signal core, cracking its drain array. The glitching donation alert sky holds. Towers still strobing. Stream still live. Push hard to overloaded chat feed data high and strike anything in the way. Stream God burns across the flickering pixel bridge toward the overloaded chat feed data high, the neon alert towers shrinking behind as the arena's static howls around you. Primary is dry. You switch to the mod hammer protocol, long iron sighted, scanning for stragglers along the transit corridor. Contact field is cold. All prior hostiles are flatlined, and the boss cluster is still holding at the objective. 132 meters and closing fast. Sweep overloaded chat feed data high for stragglers and lock it down. All prior contacts red 0. The approach corridor is clear. Stream God. You sweep the outer ring of the overloaded chat feed data hub and find nothing but twitching dead pixels and cooling band hammer impact craters. The hub is locked. Chief Troll Architect and the Doc's engine are somewhere inside the pulsing core, pushed to the throne. Break away and take cover, pop gifted sub-train flash, then re-engage from safety. You dive behind a shattered broadcast pylon, health critical, and slam the gifted sub-train flash. A blinding neon alert animation detonates across the chamber, searing both the Chief Troll Architect and the Doc's engine with cascading gifted sub-notifications. The Chief Troll Architect staggers, its hate spam firewall flickering, targeting arrays across both bosses, scrambling into static. You're repositioned. 2 turns of disorientation bought. Now you reload and breathe. Stay on the mod corrupted, Chief Troll Architect, smash it relentlessly and don't let up. Both bosses are still blind and disabled from the gifted sub-train flash. You drive straight at the Chief Troll Architect and swing the toxic chat ban hammer in relentless overhead arcs, each impact cracking its hate spam firewall layer by layer. The organic boss can't absorb fast enough. Your hype momentum passive is screaming as the neon-soaked chamber shakes. The troll architect's channel collapses in a burst of corrupted moderator badges and shredded ban logs. Break away and take cover, pop gifted sub train flash, then re-engage from safety. You vault behind a fractured data pillar as the dock's engine sparks and shudders. Still disabled, still vulnerable. You slam the gifted sub-train flash. A blinding neon alert detonation rips across the chamber, scouring the engine's targeting array and extending its disable window another turn. At 10 HP, you are one stray packet away from a down state. This is the window you needed. Stay on the system override, the dock's engine, smash it relentlessly and don't let up. At 10 HP, you're one stiff breeze from going dark, but the dock's engine is disabled and wide open. Your band hammer crashes down on its exposed core in a relentless chain of purge strikes, viewers spiking every time the neon shockwaves connect. The engine's chassis buckles, stat mirror arrays shattering in cascades of corrupted upload packets. It's not dead yet, but it's screaming. Break away and take cover, pop gifted sub-train flash, then re-engage from safety. You brake hard left, boots scraping across fractured data tile, putting a crumbled moderator pillar between you and the chief troll architect's incoming hate spam burst. Mid-sprint, you slap the gifted sub-train flash. A blinding neon subscriber notification erupts across the arena floor, shattering the architect's targeting lock and cascading static into the disabled dock's engine's cracked core. You're behind cover, critically low but still standing. And both bosses are disoriented. This is your window. Stay on the system override, the dock's engine, smash it relentlessly and don't let up. You're at 7 HP, on fumes. But the dock's engine is disabled and wide open. You slam the toxic chat ban hammer into its cracked chassis over and over, each impact sending corrupted data shards exploding outward in pixel bursts. The engine shrieks, its targeting array dark, unable to mirror anything back. It buckles, sparks, and flatlines, stream data hemorrhaging across the floor in a cascade of dead pixels. Break away and take cover, pop gifted sub-train flash, then re-engage from safety. You're at 5 HP. Stream God breaks hard left behind a shattered moderator pillar and detonates the gifted sub-train flash. The blinding neon alert animation detonates across the arena in a wall of screaming subscriber notifications, disorienting every sensor and targeting lock-in range. The disabled chief troll architect, already slumped and sparked out, can't capitalize. You catch a breath in the strobolite static. Stay on the mod corrupted. Chief troll architect, incinerate it relentlessly and don't let up. Your operator charges the disabled chief troll architect with the toxic chat ban hammer swinging in brutal overhead arcs. Each strike strips another layer of hate spam firewall, the corrupted boss convulsing as ban waves cascade through its organic circuitry. With its targeting offline and no time to recover, the architect takes devastating melee punishment to its exposed core. It crashes to the data floor in a shower of broken moderation icons and dying chat tokens. Break away and take cover, pop gifted sub-train flash, then re-engage from safety. You're at 10 HP, critical. You break hard to cover behind a collapsing moderator pillar, pop the gifted sub-train flash, and the arena explodes in blinding neon alert animations. The dock's engine's targeting array screeches offline as its scan beam goes wide. It can't. Both hate raid drones spin out of formation, sensors fried. You're still in the fight. Stay on the system override. The dock's engine, blast it relentlessly and don't let up. You're at 10 HP, critical, but the dock's engine is still disabled and exposed. You slam the sub-goal hype barrage into its core at 40 meters, piercing base waves detonating against its scan array with no counter-targeting to dodge. The dock's engine's chassis shudders and fragments, hull integrity cratering under relentless sonic punishment, the upload sequence fractures midstream. Break away and take cover, pop gifted sub-train flash, then re-engage from safety. You're on fumes, 5 HP, primary dry, the chief troll architect still active at 320 HP and 2 disabled drones about to reboot. You jack sideways behind a crumbling data server pillar and detonate the gifted sub-train flash. A blinding neon supernova of gift sub-alerts detonates across the arena, washing the architect's hate spam firewall in searing light and scrambling all targeting arrays for 2 turns. The dock's engine's disabled hull sparks uselessly in the strobe. You draw the mod hammer protocol. It's time to lock the architect's channel from range before it rebuilds its firewall stack. Stay on the system override. The dock's engine, incinerate it relentlessly and don't let up. You're at 5 HP, critical. Dock's engine is disabled and wide open. You dump everything. Hammer caves in its scanning array in a cascade of corrupted docs packets, and the engine's HP collapses to 0. The upload stream dies screaming in a shower of pixelated user data. Chief Troll Architect is still disabled across the arena, but it won't stay that way long. Break away and take cover, pop gifted sub-train flash, then re-engage from safety. You're at 5 HP, critical. You break hard left behind a shattered server rack fragment, pop the gifted sub-train flash. A blinding neon subscription alert explodes across the arena, shattering the Chief Troll Architect's hate spam targeting lock and disorienting its senses for 2 turns. The strobe burst buys you a breath. You press your back to cover, heartbeat hammering through the static. Stay on the mod corrupted, Chief Troll Architect, incinerate it relentlessly and don't let up. Stream God is at 5 HP, critically low, but the Chief Troll Architect is disabled and exposed. You switch to mod hammer protocol and pour automated script blocks into its organic core at range, hammering its hate spam firewall while it can't retaliate. The boss shudders under the precision barrage, its corrupted broadcast signal fragmenting in cascading error codes. Break away and take cover, pop gifted sub-train flash, then re-engage from safety. You're at 5 HP, a ghost in the feed. You break hard left behind a cracked server shard, popping the gifted sub-train flash as you go. A blinding neon subscriber surge detonates across the arena in a cascade of gold alerts and screaming donation fanfares. The Chief Troll Architect's hate spam targeting array shatters, its lock-on torn apart by the light. You slam your back against cover, breathing static, the mod hammer at 0 ammo, but you're alive and the boss is blinded. Stay on the mod corrupted, Chief Troll Architect, incinerate it relentlessly and don't let up. The chief troll architect is still disabled and staggering. Stream God closes the gap and unloads everything into it. Mod hammer protocol is dry, so you switch to the sub-goal hype barrage and hammer it with armor-cracking base waves at midrange, exploiting the open window before its hate spam firewall resets. The organic boss convulses under the piercing resonance, screen glitch feedback spraying from its cracked chassis as HP craters dangerously low. One more push ends it. Break away and take cover, pop gifted sub-train flash, then re-engage from safety. You're at 2 HP, pure instinct kicks in. Stream God dives behind a fractured server shard pillar, triggering the gifted sub-train flash. A blinding neon alert animation detonates across the arena, shattering all targeting lock-ons. The chief troll architect staggers, still disabled and now disoriented, while both hate raid drones spin blind. You gulp a breath. You're still in the fight, but barely. Stay on the mod corrupted, chief troll architect, smash it relentlessly and don't let up. You're at 5 HP. One hit from blackout, but the chief troll architect is disabled and bleeding data at 28 HP. You close the gap and drive the toxic chat ban hammer straight through its corrupted core, stripping its final stacked buffs and shattering the hate spam firewall in a cascade of violet permaban glyphs. The architect collapses into fragmented spam data, its broadcast channel sealed permanently. Break away and take cover, pop gifted sub-train flash, then re-engage from safety. You're at 5 health, critically compromised. You break hard left behind a shattered data pillar, pop the gifted sub-train flash, and the arena erupts in blinding neon alert cascades. The dock's engine's targeting array shatters into static. Its scan lock on your stats goes dark for 2 turns. You've bought yourself a window. Take the shot. Stay on the system override, the dock's engine, smash it relentlessly and don't let up. Five health, no room for hesitation. Your operator locks the mod hammer protocol on the dock's engine's disabled targeting array and hammers script block after script block into its exposed core. The bestiary counter plays out perfectly. A mechanical boss still reeling from the disorientation eats every round clean. The engine's red reticles flicker, stutter, and collapse. Sub-alerts cascade across the arena as the corrupted broadcast deity shatters into pixel static. Stream secured. Mission complete. Adrenaline standing down. Outstanding work, operator.